All right. Good afternoon. Hello from MIA. That's Miami. I hope you guys are doing super well and wishing you a wonderful Erev Shabbat. Tonight is Shabbat, Shabbos, Sabbath. So even though since this quarantine scene has come into play, in a way it feels like almost every day is a little bit of a taste of the Shabbat, of the Sabbath, which is wonderful. We've all had to kind of take a step back, a giant step back, many steps back to get out of that rat race known as life before the coronavirus. And here we are. And really it's a much more laid back, quiet society than what we're used to. So I hope you're making the best of it. I hope you're all healthy and staying safe. I just wanted to share with you a couple quick thoughts on this week's Torah portion and see how amazingly relevant it is to the times that we live in, particularly today. So this week is a doubleheader. It's known in Hebrew as Tazria Mitzorah. There are two Torah portions that are read together. And it happens not as infrequently as you would think. On the years where it's a leap year, where there's an extra month of the Hebrew month of Adar, then these various Torah portions are not read together. They're read separately. But this year they're read together. And the overall theme is one of that deals with purity and impurity, and it mostly talks about what is usually translated in English as leprosy. Now that's an incorrect translation. This is a condition that was pretty much in quote-unquote biblical times, and it was for a very specific kind of wrongdoing that the person was afflicted with this, and it could afflict even the walls of one's home, your garments that you were wearing, and it was known as sara'as, which again is incorrectly translated as leprosy. But I suppose it's the closest thing we have. It's these various kinds of sores, and the Torah goes into great detail talking about the colors of these sores and how big they are, and if it spreads, and if it becomes pink, and if it's white, and all these different kinds of details. But to me, one of the most fascinating things is the following. And in order to understand the following, I just want to say to you, I one time had a spot on my arm and wouldn't go away. And I tried all different kinds of things. I seriously did. I put on different kinds of creams, different kinds of oils, health food stuff. I'd go to the health food store, I'd put on pure vitamin E, I'd put on tea tree oil, I'd even try an antifungal thing, and it was a little kind of white sore that did not go away. So eventually, my daughter, who's a doctor in Australia, she and her husband, we were there visiting, and I showed it to her, and she said, "Abba, Dad, you are going to the doctor immediately. We gotta get to the bottom of what this is." And I was scared to go, of course. I was afraid that it might be, from the sun. And they both told me, reminded me, no, you've got to go. The sooner you take care of it, the better. And I was probably dealing with it, I kid you not, for a year, hoping it was going to go away. It didn't. So the point I'm trying to make is, thank God I did go to the doctor. And in Australia, she said when you go home, it does look like it is, and it's very treatable. And you should go to a skin doctor when you get home, to a dermatologist. I did, took care of it, and it was indeed something from the sun, and it was indeed something that the sooner the better. It's all preventative, right, medicine. So sooner is good. And so I did, it was taken care of, had to go back, they had to cut out a little bit of it, and thank God everything's fine. But the point I'm trying to make is I went to a doctor. Now, in these days, the Torah instructs the person who's afflicted with this sara'as, the person has to go to the Kohen, to the priest. The Kohanim are known as the priests in the Jewish religion. There's Kohanim, there's Levim, the Kohen, a Levite, and then the common folk, which is what I belong to Israel, right? All children of of Israel, of Jacob, but the individual was instructed to go to the Kohen. Hello, send him to a doctor, send him to a medical doctor. But he had to keep going to the Kohen. So I have to tell you what I did. If you can, I'll even show you over here. It says so many times, V'huva el Aaron HaKohen, he's brought to Aaron the Kohen, or any one of Aaron's children. On this page, look, Vira'ah HaKohen, Vira'aho HaKohen. It means that the Kohen has to see this affliction that he has. Vira'aho HaKohen, the Kohen sees it. Vira'aho HaKohen, Vira'ah HaKohen, and the Kohen saw. On this page alone, 1, 2, 3, 4 times. Let's turn the page again. I'm going to turn the page again, and here's 3 more. Vira'ah HaKohen, Vira'ah HaKohen, Vira'ah HaKohen. The Kohen looks at it, he looks at it, he looks at it. The next page, a whole bunch more. So I counted them up. In just the first Torah portion alone of Tazria, it's mentioned that the Kohen saw, he looked at it, he saw it, he went to the Kohen for the Kohen to observe it 28 times. Okay? 28 times in this Torah portion alone. So the why to the Kohen? Hello, go to a doctor. My son, the doctor. Right? I'm so proud of him. Right? But no. The good Lord said, no, I want you to go to the Kohen. You have to go to the priest. And so it's very interesting. The Lubavitcher Rebbe has a talk on this where he says, why send him to the priest? Why does he have to go to the Kohen? Because the Kohen is the only one who can declare this individual tameh, or as impure. And if he's impure, guess what? He has to sit outside the camp. He's ostracized. And this was for a particular type of sin that the person did, which was known in Hebrew as lashon hara, as speaking evil about another person, talking bad. Okay? Like evil talk. Who needs it? My grandmother used to tell me, if you don't have something good to say about somebody, don't say it. And so that's really how I was brought up. Really, I don't think I ever heard my parents talk bad about somebody. If they did, I don't remember it. It was very uncommon. And so, it's a healthy way, I think, to bring up children, and that we should try to emulate ourselves. There's a lot of wisdom that our grandparents lived with, and that was one of them. If you don't have something good to say about somebody, just don't say it. We need to keep our mouths closed. In fact, the Midrash says that's one of the reasons why the mouth has 2 gates. One is the teeth, and the second one is your lips. Right? It's to protect us from what comes out of our mouths. There's a lot of interesting different rabbis. What's the matter?
Van Flingen somebody.
Oh, forget him. For now, we'll call him later. Sorry, everybody. Slight interruption there. But there's been many, I'll just repeat the expression because I don't know who to attribute it to initially. But the expression is, and this was different Rebbes would tell their followers that we need to be as careful with what comes out of our mouths as what goes in. As many times people are like, oh, is it kosher? Is it this kind of kosher? Who is the one doing the supervision? I need to know all the details. And they're very, very careful. Nothing wrong with that as far as what they eat. Beautiful. We see today everybody's on, some kind of diet, a gluten-free, a sugar-free, a salt-free. It could be a taste-free, a food-free diet. But whatever it is, they're so careful what goes in. Are we as careful what comes out? So in those days, for somebody who would talk bad against someone, all of a sudden, get a little blemish. And they don't stop talking bad about somebody, another little blemish. That could actually happen when the person is entirely covered with these blemishes that the Torah speaks about in these 2 portions. So, why the Kohen, right? Why not a doctor? Why the Kohen? So the Lubavitcher Rebbe has a very beautiful talk. And in a nutshell, the Rebbe says as follows. Since the Kohen is the one who is instructed and is brought up and it's in his DNA to bless another with love and to relate to another with love. And that was Aaron, the high priest, Aaron the Kohen Gadol. He exemplified this trait of love, showing love for another. And since this individual is about to be, or could be pronounced as being impure, sent out of the camp, well, that's a big thing. That's a huge thing to tell somebody, hey, sorry, dude, but I think you got it, and adios, out you go. So who is the one to do that? So God Almighty wanted it as follows, that the one to be the one to pronounce someone with a blemish, no, it has to be the one, not just a doctor who looks at it objectively, but it also has to be the one who looks at another with love and compassion. And so the last thing this individual wants to do is to tell this person, you're impure, hit the road. Okay, the Kohen is trained in all these different colors and what it looks like and how big it is, and did it shrink a little bit and how much it shrunk, did it get a little bigger, where it actually is it on the body, what does it actually look like. So they're trained in all of these things, but the other huge component of their training is that they're in their DNA even, is that they relate to another with love and compassion. And so in this time, we see that now with all social distancing, what do people miss a lot is just human contact, just talking to another. I mean, you go for a walk even with your mask, and you're so happy just to say hello to somebody. It could be before you just pass the person by, don't even think twice about it. Now we're so desperate in a way. We so miss these things that we took for granted. Just these little things. These little things we took for just saying hello to somebody, seeing another person, and being cooped up in a way, and having that removed from us, I think in a way is showing us, you know what? It's about time we stop taking things for granted, stop taking each other for granted. And let's go back to that grandmotherly wisdom that I'm not saying that I live with it, but it's something that I would like to emulate, and that is if you know something good to say about somebody, just don't say it. Okay? Now obviously if somebody's doing something wrong, you want to help them out. You want to help them improve their lot. We're going to save this for another talk, because that's an amazing talk on this notion of rebuking another person. But I'm going to save that. I'll just give you a teaser that the Hebrew word for rebuke is a mistranslation in English. Okay, it does not mean rebuke. And a lot of people think, oh, wow, I just learned in the Torah, it says I shall hocheach tochiach es hamisacha. I have to doubly rebuke them. And they take it upon themselves, that's their mitzvah. That is a time, that'll be our next discussion. Okay, but the teaser is that Rashi points out, one of the main commentators in the Torah, that it does not mean rebuke. And so all those English translations are incorrect. Okay, but again, that's for another time. So we have to be like the Kohen. We have to emulate the Kohen's ways. In fact, in the Ethics of the Fathers, Perkei Avot, it says we should be mitalmidav shel Aaron HaKohen. We have to be like the Talmidim of Aaron, who did what? Ohev Shalom, Varodev Shalom. He loved peace, pursued peace, right? And he brought people close. He stayed close with them. And it's very interesting. How did Aaron HaKohen do it? If he would see two people having an argument, he would go, let's say, to Scott and John. He would say, Scott, I just spoke to John. John feels really bad about what happened. If he wants to make up. He would go to John and say, John, I just spoke to Scott. Scott feels so bad about what happened, he wants to make up. Scott meets John, they give themselves a hug. He said, oh, and they make up. All right? So that was Aaron HaKohen, Aaron the high priest, that he related to everyone with love and compassion. And that's what the world needs now, is love, sweet love. Be like Aaron HaKohen. We have to emulate those ways. Right? It's the only thing that is just too little love. We got to bring some more love into the world. By the way, there were 28 times where it speaks about that the Kohen saw, the Kohen saw, the Kohen saw, the Kohen looked. He's the one who has to do it. Well, guess what? The numerical equivalent of 28 is ahava be'ahava, with love and brotherhood. Okay? So it's such an interesting thing. And ahavecha, you're the one who loves you. I mean, come on. It's also the numerical equivalent of ba'achava, with brotherhood. So it also equals Yad David, the hand of David. So I guess that's why I had to speak about this. Okay? Everybody have a wonderful Shabbat, a beautiful Sabbath. Now remember, even for those of you who are not Jewish, it's time we started bringing in the Sabbath moments. And now, especially now, we're not running around like in the rat race, right? We're not running here and there and back and forth. You know, like it was almost programmed into our DNA. We almost became like robots. And so now we can take more of those Sabbath moments. Enjoy your family, enjoy your friends, whoever you're quarantining with, and take the time to love them and to love each other, and to reach out with brotherhood, sisterhood, and love and compassion. Peace in. Shabbat Shalom from Miami.